And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to welcome you just one more time to a stories written by a current prisoner with your favorite journalist, Tony. For real, straight up, it is such a great honor to have you as my guest. Thank you for taking the time and keeping the show alive. And just real quick, let me go ahead and address on some of these rumors that I've seen that Powder has died, Jason has overdosed. I have took it upon myself to reach out to his family, and luckily I was able to get a hold of his mom. And she was able to confirm that Mr. Jason is currently in ad seg. Yes, he just put away, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing wrong with Jason. He is 100% alive. I do not know where this rumor started. However, I even heard another content creator speak on him. However, he is 100% alive. There's nothing wrong with Jason. He did not pass away. So please go ahead and kick back and enjoy the story that we did a few weeks ago. It's a new one. It's a banger. It's hot. And I hope you guys enjoy it. With that being said, thank you. Thank you. I cannot emphasize that enough. Thank you for keeping the show alive. And for those of you that hit that like button, man, I wish I could shake your hand. Gracias. It helps out big time. Thank you. Have a great day. All right, Mr. Jason, sir. You are good to go, my friend. Please go ahead and shine bright, sir.
All right. Hey, thank you, Tony, and thank you for anybody who's actually paying attention to my story or paying attention to my experiences, because it really does mean a lot to me. That means that, I'm kind of making an impact, and people, I don't take it for granted. I'm really grateful for anybody who pays attention to my little stories. And what's crazy is I've done a lot of experiences and shared a lot of experiences on the active inmate side, the white inmate side that are active over here in the state of California. And as everybody knows, in 2017, after I got hit, I ended up dropping out, going through the whole debriefing process, and and then making it over to the SNY side. SNY is sensitive needs yards, and it's PC, protective custody, but it's changed a lot. And let's not forget that majority of the active inmates are now currently over on this side. And since I've been over here on this side, I've stayed out of trouble. For the most part, I stayed out of gangs and pretty much just stayed away from all that type of mentality. And but it's the same thing on this side. It's just a little bit different. And I've been to 4 SNY mainline prisons, 5 including ADSEG, Soledad Hole, when I did that little, 6-month ADSEG term right there. So I've had the opportunity to kind of see what these SNY gangs are about. And, over there on the mainline, people are dropping out mass amounts daily. There's not even a lot of numbers over there on the active side anymore, because everybody is now over on this side. So let's not forget that all the killers that were over there are now over here. And some of them, it's crazy because some of them, and it's crazy to think that, but some ex-Aryan Brotherhood members are actual, and they're walking around with and things of that nature. Some of them are just, and they end up being who they truly are over on this side. And that's always something that's been said, even by the actives, is you get to see what they're really like once they come over here to the SNY side, because there are no rules anymore. There's no, being controlled by the Aryan Brotherhood, being controlled by P9, Nazi lowriders, and all these other prison gangs. But here's the thing. They have gangs over here on this side that are just as lethal, if not more lethal. And these white boys over here are just as hungry. And I promise you that. I've already seen it multiple times. I've heard it multiple times. And I've experienced some things to where I know right now I'm sitting on a level 4, 180 yard right now. And I can tell you right now, this yard that I'm sitting on has had historical wars between the 2-5ers and the Zapatistas right here on this yard. The white boys right here, they got some gangs that are called the BBCs, Brothers by Choice. Obviously, they got USAS, and then they got this other gang that's lurking around called FTB. FTB stands for the original FTB that the Nazi lowriders created brand. The brand is obviously against the Aryan Brotherhood. That's what they represent. That's what they stand for, and that's what they're about. But see, it's a little bit different. And what's crazy about these FTBs, these aren't just a label and they're saying FTB. This is an actual gang. They have labels, they have numbers, they have a recruiting process. They are an actual gang. They're not just like how the Nazi lowriders used to be. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I've discovered since I've been over on this side is that, and this is through most conversation with BBCs and actual FTB members, that natural progression leads them, natural progression for the Nazi lowriders, because they all ended up over on this side, majority of them, direct them to FTB or Brothers by Choice. So when you come over to this side, all these Nazi lowriders are either going to be, claiming
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded,
or they're going to be claiming FTB or BBC, Brothers by Choice. That's usually what they're going to be claiming, though, FTB or BBC, 100%. But BBC is like an elite part. It's like elite white inmates over on this side that are lifers, okay? So they're looking for guys that are down to murder. They're looking for dudes that are willing to sacrifice their life for FTB. They're willing to pick up a knife and do anything. I shared a story a while back about how one of my big homeboys, Animal, Mike McMillan from Kenai, got into it with an individual named Haas from Orange County. Well, that dude Haas from Orange County, he experienced some things over on the main line I'm not going to talk about, to which put him over on this side. He's the founder. That dude Haas is the founder of FTB. He's like pretty much a god to these FTB members, and they idolize him. And I actually had an opportunity to run across him on this other yard over here in Tehachapi. He's over on the other yard, sitting right there. And he was actually had his eyes on me. He wanted to recruit me, and I have no passion. I have no eagerness, anything. I'm just not going to be a part of any type of SNY gang or any gang, period. But I was having conversations with him, and he was telling me the structure of FTB, and he was telling me about the members that are already in it. One of the members is Jason Sawyer Slim from Lads. Jason Sawyer Slim from Lads, he was one of the individuals that I spoke about that shot word out of Corcoran a long time ago when we were at war with the Northerners, and it was premature word, and I ended up getting sliced on my back for that because I was a part of this call. And then one of my homeboys, Fat Pat, was supposed to move in with Slim and check him. That was us politicking for payback. That was Kenai politicking for payback for what they did to me and getting me crossed up, to which Slim wouldn't go in there with Fat Pat, and he ended up checking in. That's one of the members. But over here on this side, take nothing from Slim. I know Slim personally. He was also a part of that story where Corliss is in prison, or where Corliss was in prison, where he had some dude's throat cut in the county jail. Corliss has already served his time for it, but Slim, Jason Sawyer, he was the individual that sliced Tony Stanza from Kenai's throat in the county jail. That's why Fat Pat ended up getting life. That's why Corliss ended up getting arrested and doing his prison term. But he's currently out now. And then there's another individual named Angel, okay? Angel, and I can't remember his real name, but I met Angel as well. Now, Angel is an ex-Nazi lowrider from Ontario, and Angel grew up among the Southsiders out there from Cherryville, out there in 12th Street, Pomona, out there. So he's from Ontario, but he was running around with all those dudes from Pomona and all the Ontario Nazi lowriders like Trojan, Jackal, and all these other individuals. So he's an old school Nazi lowrider, and he actually happens to be Haas's cellie, and he's been Haas's cellie for a while. Somehow they have managed to stick together for a while, and they've just been wreaking havoc. And I talked to him and I asked him, I said, are you guys actively against the brand? What is FTB? What does it stand for? And they told me that it was fuck the brand. And they said that if any Aryan Brotherhood members come to the yard, they're not just going to attack them for being Aryan Brotherhood members. As long as they mind their P's and Q's, then they won't do anything to them. But if they come and they try to push any type of agenda, then that's when they target them. Prior to them being in Tehachapi, they were over in Kern Valley. And when they were over in Kern Valley, there was a lot of things that were going on right there. There was the war with the 2-5ers and the Zapatistas. That was going on there. And that war right there is a bloody war. Those Zapatistas, they got their name from Zapata, this dude that was, obviously, I'm sure you guys have heard about it, but I don't know the whole history of it, but that turned into Zapatista, and these dudes are warring big time in Kern Valley. Well, the FTB, they are allies with the 2-5ers. They had made this agreement a while ago. So these FTBs have to really be careful about where they go now, because not every yard welcomes the 2-5ers anymore. And I don't know a lot about the 2-5ers or anything like that. I did have a cellie that was a 2-5er, and I'm trying to learn a little bit about them, but that's a whole different trip. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about this FTB gang. So this dude Angel was right there in Kern Valley, and they like to target child, and they also like to target what they consider rats. And they don't consider themselves rats being on this side. They don't look at themselves like that. They like the slate clean. When they come over here, their mentality has not changed. Matter of fact, I feel like it's gotten worse. Now, when Angel was over there in Kern Valley, he was cellies with Big Haas, and they were doing their thing right there. And Jason Sawyer was right there, and they were looking for dudes to recruit. Well, in the meantime, as that was happening, they found out in their section that there was somebody who had bad paperwork. So what they did is they looked into it. This is how they do it. They find out who the person is, because it always starts off at rumors. Somebody always ends up saying, hey, we got somebody who's no good. This dude's a chomo. This dude, however they say it, that's how they say it. So then they're going to go looking for this dude's paperwork. Usually on this side, when you go ask a man for his paperwork and he doesn't want to give it to you, usually he has something to hide. That's just the way that it goes. So they went to this dude who happened to be in the next section over. So on a 180, the way it's designed, they have 3 sections. They have an A section, a B section, and a C section. Well, Haas and Angel were in B section, and this dude happened to live in A section, which makes it a little bit more difficult to attack him, but you do get plenty of opportunities to be able to target this man and take him out if that's what you choose to do. It just makes it a little bit more difficult if you're in separate sections, because
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
they do monitor it pretty well on these 180s. Sometimes, usually the movement, they don't usually monitor day rooms very well. For some reason, they get a little bit chillaxed on that type of thing. But when it's movement, they're real serious about it, and they pay real close attention. The body cams are on now, so they have to really be on their job. But at this time, there was no body cams. At this time, things were very, very relaxed. And I also found out that over there in Kern Valley, sometimes in prison, you develop relationships with these cops to where sometimes they'll throw you a bone. Sometimes. I'm not saying that every cop is like that. I'm not saying that every prison's like that. I'm just saying that sometimes in some prisons that you land into, you might develop a relationship with a cop that when you need something to get done, he might look the other way. He might throw you a bone or whatever. It just happens like that. And in Kern Valley at this
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And at this time in Kern Valley, that's exactly what was going on. They had some cops. I don't know which ones. I don't know which block. I don't really know. I guess if you investigate this story and research it, you probably can narrow it down to what block, because you can find out who their names are, however you decide to do it. If you were research, you probably could find out, but that doesn't even matter. But they had some cops that would look the other way. They had some cops in their pocket. However they had it, they had it. That's just what time it was. That's what was going on. And basically, you know, they went and hunted down this dude's paperwork, found out, hold on one second, Tony. My buddy's at the door. What's up, fool? Did you bring home any ham? Yeah? Yeah, do you mind? I'm in the middle of a story right now, though. All right? All right, thank you. All right. Hey, the dude that you're supposed to interview said hi. He said hi, but he's bringing some kitchen food home. All right, I will. All right, I will. But he showed up at my door with some ham and shit, so I fucking... Am I ready to go? Am I still good? And so they had him in their pocket, and they had a couple cops in that block where they could get away with some things if they asked for a favor. So what they did is the first thing they did is they ended up getting a hold of this man's paperwork through one of the white boys in the program office. There's usually a clerk that's in the program office has the ability to check people's paperwork, and that's what he did. So he showed them the paperwork. Since this individual wouldn't show them the paperwork, they went around. There's loopholes. They went and seen it, and this dude was a bona fide child. Usually, there's no child on level 4 180s on the SNYs. SNYs clean house. When you get on level 4 180s, they clean house. There's none of that on majority of these yards, okay? On this yard particular in Kern Valley, there is not allowed to find them. If they show up, they're getting removed and they're getting stabbed, just like the main line. There's not much difference. That's why I'm sharing this experience. So what they find out, as soon as they find out that he's a bona fide child and that he's in a different section, they asked the cop to do him a favor, move him right over into A section. So they move into A section, and this dude, Angel, hasn't got his letters yet. He hasn't got his FTB letters yet. And there's a certain kind of letters that they get. I actually know what they look like. And they also earn a shield with the numbers on it that are the equivalent of the FTB. So F is A, B, C, D, E, F, which is 5, and then it's alphabetical equivalents of the numbers, and then you add them up, and that's their numbers. So that's how they do it. So he hasn't got none of them yet, and he's getting ready to earn his FTB. And they put it above their right eyebrow. Any FTB member puts it above their eyebrow. So that's how you will be able to identify them and recognize them as bona fide FTB members. The only way you can become an FTB member is with steel. Is with stabbing somebody for the benefit of STB. So they move over into this section and they get their plans. And these dudes are like experts at making weapons. I know this firsthand because I've met these individuals and I know how they rock. Okay. And that's a fact. So what they did was Angel got prepared. He was doing it solo bolo. He was doing it by himself. And they got it situated to where it would be at a nighttime day room, and the cop was going to kind of just act distracted at another section, which gave him time to go ahead and take this dude out. So this is what happened. They made some rods. He had 2 rods that were about 9 inches long. One of them was a little bit shorter than the other one, but one of them was about 9 inches long. So both of them were bone crushers. That's a bone crusher. Anything that's like past 8 inches is a bone crusher. And I'm talking the rod itself. So he ties these rods to his hands. He ties them to his wrists so that he has support and that these things won't fall off. So he literally has rods tied to each one of his hands, and they pop out day room for nighttime. They pop out nighttime for day room. And this dude who has that paperwork has not really been coming out, but it's been a while and he needs a shower. So what they did was that they had a dude that he trusted lure him out into the day room. So when he came down the stairs, Angel comes down the stairs with these knives tied on his hands, and the cop does what he's supposed to do, and he goes and looks to the other section. That's when Angel makes his move. Angel makes his move, and he goes and he just plummetes this rod right into this dude's neck. And the dude fell completely on his back. When he fell on his back, Angel was just jackhammering him. He was jackhammering Big Hoss that he was going to earn his his letters by stabbing this dude only in the neck and the face. So he was just drilling him. The dude was completely out, wasn't even moving. The cop finally comes over. He doesn't do anything. And Angel sees that the dude's not moving anymore, and he's his mouth. The cops are telling him to get down. They're not spraying him. They're not shooting him. They're not doing nothing, because most places you go to, when they see a child up on one of these higher levels, usually the cops don't like them either, and a lot of times they let them get away with it. So Angel just rolled away. He cuffed up, and they ended up telling me he wouldn't tell me whether the man lived or died. I'm sure if we research it, we can find out if he lived or died. But I know this is a 100% factual thing that happened, because I read the paperwork. I've seen how it went down, and this is exactly how it went. And there's no difference. This is just him earning his letters. And that's a new gang right here in SNY. It's called FTB, and that's how they're rocking. And I wasn't sharing this story to glorify anything. I'm sharing the story so people could be aware of even these SNY gangs, and this is how it's even happening over on this side. You just have to be very careful and stay to yourself, and you just do not want to get caught up in this type of lifestyle. Take it from me.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And thank you.